Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone that taught me this truth and rule well. And I want to say Shalom to the Akim and Akwath out there pursuing this truth diligently. Coming at you with another lesson. This one's going to be on the Pentagon's report on the chariots. They call them UFOs, UAPs, bunch of other names on unidentified aerial phenomenon. Uh, it's basically what they're calling them now. Or the old version was the UFOs, unidentified flying object. But they released a report with some information in it. I'm not gonna go crazy into the report. It's pretty easy to find. Um, but we're going to just jump into some news articles. This one's by the Intelligencer. It says, what's inside the Pentagon's long-awaited UFO report? I got some things highlighted in here that we're going to get into, but I guess we'll start off with just reading a little bit of it. Slack you one moment. Alright, slack you. Alright, so start it off. It just says, one of the many curiosities packed into the 2.3 trillion omnibus spending and that word relief package passed by Congress in December was a stipulation requiring the Department of Defense and the Office of the Director of National Intelligence to deliver an unclassified report on unidentified flying objects to Congress within 6 months, compiling what the government knows about UFOs rocketing around over American airspace. The long-awaited first report was finally released on Friday, and though only 9 pages, represents the most direct and substantive U.S. government account of what officials call unidentified aerial phenomena, UAP, ever made public. Slovakia, let me grab a drink. Below is a guide to what the report contains for those who want to believe or at least understand what there is to learn for this unprecedented act of transparency from the Pentagon. What information is the report based on? Now this the amount is pretty prophetic, I think. The Pentagon's task force preliminary assessment is based on the review of 144 UAP reports involving observations made by the military aviators between 2004 and 2021, but mostly from the last 2 years. So there's been in this report, it's based on a review of these 144 um, CHARIOT reports that have been observations by the military essentially. And now, if you brothers have been in the truth for a while, you know that 144 is basically we use that abbreviation for the 144,000 that are the elect of the nation of Israel. You know, the people that are essentially the people that are going to get saved. You know, um, so where do I want to get in? I'll start over here. Yeah, here it is again. 144 reports. Um, they could only now this part's pretty cool. Of the 144 reports, the task force could only determine an explanation for one, which was a deflated balloon. The rest remain unexplained. Now, they start talking some shit down in here, trying to pull rabbits out of their ass and whatnot. You know, they got there's currently no evidence that any of the objects are related to a secret U.S. weapons program or developed by foreign adversaries. So at least they're, admitting that they're not one of Esau's, secret weapons. So they got that. Now this is where all the bullshit comes in. The report lists 5 possible explanations, Slakia, for the chariots. While the report doesn't offer much in the way of explanation for the objects, it does offer 5 categories of possible explanations. Airborne clutter, including birds, balloons, drones, and airborne debris. natural atmospheric phenomenon, including ice crystals, moisture, and thermal fluctuations that may register on some infrared and radar systems. U.S. developed technology, classified technology developed by the U.S. or its industry partners, which is bullshit. Esau could never harness, technology that Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai has. Technology developed by foreign adversaries, going in on Russia and China saying it could be one of their weapons, but it's not. Catch-all and counter, blah blah, all that. There's enough information to determine categorization, essentially. Uh, Goes in on why is the report coming out now, and it basically talks about how, you know, um, it's been in the works for quite some time. People wanted to, you know, wanted to report on this, senators and whatnot, because basically, like I said, down in here, like I said, it's mostly most of these reports from the last 2 years. That's one of the reasons why they put out this report is not because they wanted to put out the report. They put out this report because they knew there was no way that they could hide anymore. The chariots are coming in vast numbers now, and it's getting to the point where a lot of people are seeing them, and you can't just say they don't exist anymore or say, oh, that person's crazy. Um, a lot of us got phones with cameras built in now. A lot of information coming up, a lot of videos coming up. You see them getting posted all the time. So, they really can't hide it anymore. Now, I'm not going to get into this too much. I'm basically going to touch on the same subject in this. This is the official report. If you want to look it up, all you have to do is type in preliminary assessment. If you go right here, just type in that. Right here, if you have to, if it doesn't come up, it should. You can just type in UAP like that, and you'll get all of everything. Everything will be related to that. You just click on that, and it'll take you right here. It'll say preliminary assessment and identified aerial phenomena, um, 25th of June, 2021, which was a couple days ago now, about 5 days. But yeah, let me jump back over and close out this one. This one I have some stuff. I have a thing highlighted in here, I think. Yeah, there it is. So this basically just goes in on this is the whole full report. If you don't want to go through an article, if you want to just browse through it, there's a lot of useless stuff, but there's some good stuff in here too. Uh, so now we'll grab this right quick. And we're not going to get into all these agencies and stuff, but let's see where we start here. It's basically saying this report is provided in response to a Senate report accompanying Intelligence Authorization Act, all that, blah 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 blah. But right here, in the consultation with the Secretary of Defense, is to submit an intelligence assessment of the threat posed by unidentified aerial phenomena. So they're basically admitting these things are a threat now. You know, which I know knows. He knows about these about the chariots. That's why they've been hiding them for so long. But it's getting to the point where they can't anymore. Now, let's go right here. Now they're covering up. There's a lot of covering up. This is a government report, so there's a lot of covering up. You basically gotta sift through the bullshit. But there's good points in here like this. It says UAP clearly pose a safety of flight issue and may pose a challenge to U.S. national security. Safety concerns primarily center on aviators contending with an increasingly cluttered air domain. UAP would also represent a national security challenge if they are a foreign adversary. Collection platforms provide evidence to a potential adversary has developed either a breakthrough or disruptive technology. So they're saying, this could be a foreign adversary. It could be a like a war tool used by Russia or North Korea, um, and all these other places. Um, and it's basically saying their primary concern is with the aviators, which is the U.S. uh, Air Force essentially. The collisions, having collisions, because there was apparently a couple near misses uh, with that, which you know, I'm not sure, I wasn't there, but you know, it can happen. But right here in the official report, you can see says 144 reports originated from USG sources. Of these, 80 reports involved observation with multiple sensors. So they had multiple ways of viewing these, not just with their eyes. They had radar, um, probably some other crazy shit, you know, the U.S. military has, you know, sonar, whatever, they can detect them, you know, probably get a whole bunch of information off of them, and they still couldn't tell what they were. They couldn't even identify, you know, what they are, what they're even made of. Um, right here it says in 18 incidences described in 21 reports, observers reported unusual movement patterns or flight characteristics. So basically unusual. Um, it's very unusual for an aircraft, is what they're basically saying. You know, these don't move like typical planes that we know of. Some chariots appeared to remain stationary in winds aloft, move against the wind, maneuver abruptly, or move at a considerable speed without discernible means of propulsion. In a small number of cases, military aircraft systems uh, processed radio frequency energy associated with the UAP sightings, chariots. Um, we'll read this and then we'll get into some scripture. The UAPTF holds a small amount of data that appear to show UAP demonstrating acceleration or a degree of signature management. Additional rigorous analysis are necessary by multiple teams of groups of technical experts to determine the nature and validity of these data. They're conducting further analysis to determine if breakthrough technologies were demonstrated. Now, I want to grab this real quick and see what this is right here. Let's see. Signature management plane. Alright, so I'm not sure what they're talking with that they appear to show a degree of signature management. I don't know if that's some you know, like aeronautical term, or if they're just, you know, they make these things overly complicated so they burn out your brain when you even try to read them, you know. So you just don't even deal with it. You just end up skipping it. But you know, so these are some of the probabilities right here. It got into that in that report. Airborne clutter, objects like birds and balloons, unmanned aerial vehicles, stuff like that. I'm sure, you know, maybe like one or two could have been something like that, but a majority of these are, you know, chariots of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. So we're going to jump in here. This is Psalms 104 and 1. We're going to start with 1, actually, yeah. Uh, so let's see. Bless the Lord, O my soul, O Lord my God. Thou art very great. Thou art clothed with honor and majesty, who coverest thyself with light as with a garment, who stretcheth out the heavens like a curtain, who layeth the beams of his chambers in waters, right here, who maketh the clouds his chariot, who walketh upon the wings of the wind, who maketh his angels spirits, his ministers a flaming fire. So you know, in the Bible, when clouds are mentioned, uh, a majority of the time, what those clouds are referring to is the chariots, as it's referenced right here. Who maketh the clouds his chariots, Lakia. Um, so you know, there's quite a few scriptures that correlate to this that basically prove that. So what these UAPs, these UFOs are, they're really the chariots of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. and they're basically the method of his and the angels transportation. And if you've seen tons of stuff all growing up about UFOs, they can blink in out of places. You see them one minute, you don't. They can move crazy fast. You know, so these are his and his people's method of transport. Of his angels. This is Isaiah 66 and 15, starting with 15. Yeah. For behold, the Lord will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by the fire and by his sword the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. Now this is referring to when Yahweh Hashem Yahushai comes back, and Israel's salvation. Lord willing, we're part of that salvation. Um, so what it's going into is that he's going to come with fire, and his chariot's like a whirlwind, and he's going to rebuke with flames of fire. This place is going to be destroyed. This place that they call the United States of America, but in the Bible it's referred to as Babylon. Right here it says, "For by fire and by his sword the Lord will plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many." There's going to be more people that don't make it out of this than the people that do make out of it. Now, a good part on this to the whole scripture is wonderful, but to keep in mind is this part right here. His chariot's like a whirlwind. Now, we'll get into that later when it comes up, and we'll cross-examine it to prove about the whole whirlwind thing. Now this is Revelation 11 and 12. "And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them." See if we can read up. I'll read down, actually. I'll read down. Let me read this one more time. "And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up to a heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. In the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell, and in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000. And the remnant were affrighted, and gave glory to the God of heaven." And now what this is going into is talking about, the elect of Israel. They got beamed up when it said, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai basically said, "Come up hither," and the people, the elect, ascended up into the chariot, you know, and the people on the ground beheld them. They were looking up. They're gonna look up and be like wondering what's going on, but they're gonna know in that moment what's gonna go on. They're just gonna be they're gonna be amazed and terrified. They're gonna be feeling all these emotions at once. And that hour, that same hour, there was a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell. And if you know about FEMA, FEMA has 10 zones. The United States is divided up into 10 zones, and so that means the last part of the city, had fell. And let's, uh, let's go one more down. This is Revelation 11 and 14. "The second woe has passed, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly." And the woe is talking about war. We already had the First World War and the Second World War, and the Third World War is going to be the last one that Babylon has. That's what it's talking about. The third woe cometh quickly. 15, "And the seventh angel sounded, and there were great voices in heaven saying, The kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of the Lord and of his anointed, and he shall reign forever and ever." So when this happens, this kingdom is going to be translated from one people to another. Um, let's see, because of right here. Ecclesiasticus or Sirach 10 and 8. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. So this kingdom, this Esau's kingdom, is going to be translated to us, and more importantly, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. He's gonna retake this place, and this time, you know, um, we're gonna be ruling in righteousness, and these Edomites aren't gonna have another chance again. As it says, he shall reign forever and ever. So he's gonna be, we're gonna be back, in a place where with Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, you know, walking amongst them, which is gonna be a beautiful thing. It'll be way, way, way better, beyond imaginable how much better than it's going to be than this place, because this place is through, man. We're all just waiting for this place to be done with, and for Yahweh Hashem Yahushua to come back and save the elect, Lord willing, we're part of it, because this place is terrible. And let's see, where do I want to start here? Let's see. Slacky, bear with me. Okay, yeah, I'll just start here and then again read down. I'll just read down Salakia. This is Acts 1 and starting with 9. And when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. And when they're talking about he, they're talking about Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And while reading on to 10, so actually let's go into that a little bit. He was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. So a chariot came down, and Yahweh Shem Yahushai went up in there and out of their sight. And while they looked steadfastly toward heaven as he went up, behold, two men stood by them in white apparel. This is talking about the angels, which also Slakia, man, or was I? Here we are. Yeah, I was Slakia. The internet and my computer's giving me issues. And while they looked steadfastly towards the heaven as he went up, behold, two men stood by them in white apparel, talking about the angels, which also said, Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into the heaven? The same anointed which is taken up from you into heaven shall so come in like manner. Let's read that again. Pay attention over here. Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? The same anointed. So Yahweh Shem Yahushai, the same Yahweh Shem Yahushai that left up in those clouds, which is taken from you into heaven, shall so shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. So the same way he left is the same way he's coming back, and that's going to be in a chariot, and he's going to wreak, havoc on this place. Destruction is going to come to Babylon the Great. This so-called United States of America, which is really Babylon the Great, as the Bible calls it. So, like it says right there, the same way he left is the same way he's coming back. He's coming back in a chariot, and he's going to wreak hell on this place. This place is going to be destroyed. So y'all need to be, getting your lives in order. You need to be coming back in the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, putting your works in, doing your works, making lessons, going out in the highways and byways. Just put in work. Have some works. Do something. It doesn't take that long to just make a lesson. Study, watch lessons, learn, make a lesson. All lesson really takes is 10 minutes if you want to make a 10-minute lesson. You know, mine usually end up going over that, but the spirit gets on you and you go into some other stuff you didn't even plan on going into, or however it goes. Just let the spirit guide you. But like I said, it only takes 10 minutes if you're going by the Great Millstones doctrine, which you should be, and if you're not, then just you don't even need to be watching this video. Go back and call back to GOCC or wherever you want to go and have your mind messed up by them. Don't be one of those mixed mind Israelites. But let's go and you know, what are we doing here? Let's see. Do I want to grab this? Mm, I'll go with this. I'll grab this. And all right, before I read this, if on the subject I just touched on, if you happen to be from one of those other camps, and if you do come here, you gotta drop all that. If you gotta drop all that other stuff, you can't be eating from different pots. You either stay with GOCC or IUIC or wherever you want to be, and just stay with that and have your mind all messed up, or come in and learn, because I teach to the best of my ability the doctrine of the Great Millstone, which is the only true doctrine. Uh, and as you know, if you know anything about GMS, they don't commune with other camps. They don't do that. So because they don't do that, I don't do that. I'm not with that. We're all supposed to be one mind in this thing. We're not supposed to be, just communing because we're brothers. It's not how it works. But if you come in and GMS or through my videos, because I'm not uh, essentially part of GMS. Um, I just teach the same doctrine, and if you just stick with GMS doctrine, that's fine. That's great. You'll get the true word if that's what's meant to happen to you. But if you're from one of those other camps and you're going to be, eating from everyone's pot, you're going to hop over, GMS videos. You're going to hop over to GOCC and IUIC, and then you wonder why you're bugged out, and then you go on to the prophets, uh, comment boards and bug out on there. And then you wonder why you're bugging out. Well, don't say that nobody ever warned you. So anyway, with that, I just wanted to correct that, because if you're a sincere brother and you're actually trying to learn and you leave that stuff behind, there's not a problem with it. But anyway, getting back to the thing at hand, this is 2 Kings 2:11, and it came to pass as they still went on. Yeah, and it came to pass as they still went on and talked that, behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, and parted them both asunder, and Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven. Now, this is what I was talking about right over here. Salakia. Right here in uh, Isaiah 66 and 15 to be exact. For behold, the Lord will come with fire, with his chariots like a whirlwind. As you can see, it refers. It says Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven. Now let's look up whirlwind. Oh, what a whirlwind is. There you go. Boom. What does a whirlwind do? If something gets stuck in it, it flies way up to the top. Now that could be a reference. We're not entirely sure if you get beamed up, or if you actually like they call it a tractor beam. They always call it a tractor beam in the sci-fi movies. I'm not sure if it's a tractor beam that comes down, uh, and you go up in it, or if it's just a teleportation instantly. We're not sure. But basically, what it's referring to is that he went up um, by a whirlwind into heaven. So it beamed him up. You know, it beamed him up through some way, whether it beamed him up or he was teleported. Some way he was on the ground and he got into the chariot and went up into the heavens. So very, very, take that as you will. Um, we're not sure how the exact method goes down. We'll find out, Lord willing, when Yahweh Shem Yahushai comes back. But the gist of it is some way you're going to be getting into those chariots. That isn't, that's not going to land on the ground. You're going to walk in. You know, this is Psalm 68 and 17. The chariots of Yahweh are 20,000, and even thousands of angels. The Lord is among them, as in Sinai and the holy place. Grab another drink, Slakia. So the chariots of Yahweh Shem Shai are just think about 20,000. Think about I actually got a picture on my desktop. You know, um, think about 20,000 of these. You know, we'll get a better, clearer picture here. 20,000 of these. You know, these massive um, chariots. Think about 20,000 of those, and just picture them. Flying through the sky, and or picture them in whatever city you're in now. Picture them flying over the skyscrapers. Picture that. The clouds, the sky is going to be be blotted out with these things. And it's going to be beautiful. You know, it's because when you see that, you know that Yahweh Shem Shai came back to deliver his people. Lord willing, we're a part of it. It's going to be a beautiful thing. It's going to be scary too, but it's also going to be beautiful. This is Zechariah 5 and 1. This is actually one of the first scriptures that I learned about being correlated to so-called UFOs, or as we know them now in the truth, chariots. Uh, so Zechariah 5 and 1 reads, Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes, and looked, and behold, a flying roll. And he said unto me, What seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits. Now, I believe in one of my older videos, I think at least, I might not have done it, but I basically converted cubits into a modern day feet, and these things were pretty massive. But the other thing you got to realize is this is just one account of a chariot. Now, these Yahweh Hashem Yahushai's chariots can morph. They can be ginormous. They can be really small. They can come in different sizes, shapes, colors. They're very different. And that's why there's so many different. There's videos, and they all look a little bit different. They can come in any way that they want to come. They can even be invisible if they want, but sometimes they show themselves. This is Psalms 58 and 3. Now this is going into these reports. I should have grabbed this before. I wanted to leave off on a positive note, but let's go. Let's regrab Slovakia. I do like leaving out on a positive note. We'll leave off on Psalms 68 and 17. and but we'll grab this now. This is going in on the reports, how they're trying to cover everything up, because that's basically Esau's whole life is a big cover-up game. They want to cover up, that the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are the Israelites the Bible speaks of. They want to cover up that they're Esau, um, that the white man is Esau, and they want to cover up, you know, every sign of Yahweh Shem Yahushai being here, when it's they can't explain how something happened, or a building just crumbled even though its structural integrity was great, like with Notre Dame catching on fire. They always come up with excuses, um, to basically any way that they can get around saying, oh no, it wasn't Yahweh Shem Yahushai. It was a fluke. That's what they love calling it. They don't really like covering acts of God. They don't really like covering that. That's what they call them. They call them acts of God, which, I mean, they are their acts of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Um, but they have, a funny thing is that with insurance, like car insurance, and I think house insurance as well, a lot of them, some of them at least, I'm not sure if a lot of them, I do know some of them have a clause that say they don't cover acts of God. So if your house or your car gets struck by lightning, or if it's in a hurricane, or for some reason there's a tornado and a big giant tree gets uprooted and thrown through your window and busts your roof all to hell. Some of them won't cover that because they consider it an act of God. So what they're doing is, what they're really admitting is, these things are happening because of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. the, they're lightly admitting it. They don't want to go into it too much. Um, but yeah, but what I'm getting into is this scripture here, Psalms 58:3. The wicked are estranged from the womb; they go astray as soon as they are born, speaking lies. They gotta lie and cover things up um, all the time because they don't want the truth getting out. You know, and what's the word I'm looking for? And Israel. Um, they have these excavation teams, and what they do is they go around excavating and looking for anything that they can find. Essentially, I'm not sure if they're inherently looking for biblical artifacts or if they're looking for other stuff and happen to stumble across biblical artifacts. But the truth of the matter is that when they find biblical artifacts, the Israeli government usually actually takes them, and they're not allowed to be photographed. They're not allowed to be put on display or anything like that. Nobody really knows uh, quite sure where they go. Um, Nobody really knows exactly where they go, but some of us have a few ideas where they're going. But I'm not going to stipulate on that. I'm just here to teach the plain truth. I'm not going to give my own opinion. That's not what I'm here for. But so yeah, this is big. This is a big cover-up game for Esau. That's what they love to do. And if you believe in them, man, you're just as bad as them, essentially. Jeremiah 17:5, Thus saith the Lord, Cursed be the man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departeth from the Lord. Yahweh Hashem Yahushai has given us these signs, given us these warnings. We can see it happening all the time. We see these chariots, and you still got people out there that are thinking that, oh, it's our, it's not our. I don't like referring to it our as in Babylon. They like referring to it as Babylonian technology, um, of the U.S. military. It has a war tool essentially that's unclassified, and that they're using it that way. But the thing is, if that was true, millions of people have seen these things, these chariots, what they just like to call UFOs or these UAPs. The millions of people have saw them. Um, it's kind of hard to keep something classified when that many people are seeing them. So, their shit's getting uncovered, and it's getting hard for them to cover their shit. Just picture a cat. Esau's the cat, and they're just fucking in that litter box. And the litter box is full, man. There's no more dirt to cover it up. It's all starting to just pile up, you know. And can't hide it. Can't hide it, man. Esau, your kingdom is starting to stink, you know. And we're just waiting for the time that Yahweh Shem Yahushai comes back and saves us, Lord willing. Because this place, man, this place is done. This place is terrible. Just look around. This place is fucking, I want to say laughable, but it's terrible in a way. Like you just think, and that's a sign of Yahweh Shem Yahushai's power too, is that he took Esau, a baseman, and turned him into this ruler, this warlord, as they like to call him, and made him basically an unstoppable force for anybody else, but not for Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Nothing's unstoppable to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. But to all these other nations, Esau Edom is an unstoppable force. If all of us got together, we can overthrow him. The only person that can overthrow him is the person who put him in command in the first place, and that's Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Um, we're going to leave off on a positive note, though. Psalm 68:17, the chariots of Yahweh are 20,000, even thousands of angels. The Lord is among them, as in Sinai in the holy place. So these chariots are, you know, these chariots from Yahweh Shem Yahushai. So if you've seen one of those, you're basically, you could be looking at, who knows, an angel. You could be looking back at Yahweh Shem Yahushai. It's a beautiful thing when you spot a chariot. So we're just gonna leave off on that. Lord willing, this was edifying. Didn't want it to go on too long, but Spirit got a hold and just went on with it. Um, so yeah, with that, I'm gonna give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem Kakwadash. Shalom to you brothers and sisters out there. Until the next one, Lord willing. Shalom.